Back Row Ministry, the world premiere, Mr. Monty coming live at you, live and direct from the Kia Optima Studios. So here we are, World War III, the beginnings of it. We see all our key players that we've been talking about over the past couple of years, the North Koreans, the Iranians, the Saudis probably are joining in. And this goes back to conversations we had about Albert Pike and the book Morals and Dogmas. If you get an opportunity to read the book, you can pull it up online. You can pull up Morals and Dogmas and read how his design for masonry in America, how he breaks down the 3 world wars. And this is something he breaks down in Morals and Dogmas. I'm not making this shit up. I can't make this up. Just go read Morals and Dogmas. You see this guy talking about 3 world wars. Now, if you don't know who Albert Pike is, let's break down who Albert Pike is. Albert Pike was a leader for the Confederate forces during the Civil War. And if you don't know, and if you have not put it together, if you haven't watched films like Lincoln, where they put a lot of this in your face in Lincoln. Lincoln is one of these movies, they really give it to you. The Civil War is a Masonic design. It's a Masonic design war. Sacrifice was a part of the Civil War. America's sacrifice to really be where we are now as a nation. We had to prove that we were willing not only to kill and give lives, but give our own lives. Remember, our bloodiest war was the war when we killed each other. That's where we lost the most people, of course. But Albert Pike was on the side of the Confederacy, while Abraham Lincoln was on the side of, the Union forces. His job was to unify the nation. Lincoln was a Mason. Albert Pike was a Mason. Albert Pike was a higher level Mason than Abraham Lincoln. So if you watch that movie, you hear times when Lincoln talks about he talks about he didn't go to school when he's talking to the 2 soldiers, but he is a man who does have knowledge of light, and he talks about Euclid. And that's when he starts talking about the 47th problem and foundation and all this shit, if you're paying attention. But Albert Pike in his book Morals and Dogmas is pretty much the guideline for American Masonry. And he talks about the 3 world wars and the final world war, which he calls a religious world war. And all 3 of these world wars are wars of control. Remember, war is nothing but a control tactic. You get fear out there, get people very afraid of something, and then you're able to control the masses. So if you go through all 3 world wars, you see the key players in the first 2 were the Germans. The Germans were the key players in the first 2 world wars. And you got to remember the Austrians. We talk about the Austrians, and then we talk a lot about the Bavarians. The Bavarians was like the monarchy at that time. World War II pretty much gave the Bavarian Illuminati their power back. Gave that monarchy their power back with Ludwig II, was a big-time Freemason. Kind of gave them that power back, and then they helped to establish America. But you remember, the Germans fought the Romans for a long period of time. The Germans and the Romans were at war for a long period of time. So you have a strong Catholicism based in Germany, but you also have a strong Jewish base on the backside, and that's going, more towards Poland and Eastern European countries. A lot of the Zionists you have here are Eastern European, the majority of them. And they don't claim African. That's my issue with them. If you're going to claim that you're descendants of slaves from Egypt, then you're saying you're African, but then you're saying you're not African at the same time. And you see no African Americans or any people of color ever connected to the religion. No, it doesn't work like that. So don't say I'm Semitic when you're not Semitic. You know what I'm saying? If you're saying you're a Semite, then you're saying that you're part African and part Arab, or part of the Asiatic tribes. And you're not saying that. So how can you be Semitic? So, a lot of that is in Morals and Dogmas. A lot of this touching on this 3rd World War. So this is something that they've scripted out centuries before it even happened. And people have to understand the levels of control that these people are willing to go to keep the society as a whole, because the society is meant to crumble, rebuild, crumble, rebuild. America has done this several times. The only thing that America has not went through is total destruction. And that's what we're about to face, total destruction, and then a rebuilding process to rebirth the new nation. So a lot of things are going to change over the next 10 years. America won't have the same design or the same look. Does it have to happen the way that they planned it? No, we can stop this at any time. We can stop this at any time. All we have to do is not fearmonger. Don't go into fearmonger mode. Don't allow them to separate the Asiatic tribes, because that's what they're trying to do. Remember, the Arabs are part of the Asiatic tribe. When I say Asiatic, I'm talking about these Asian African tribes that are connected, people of color. That's all they want to do. They just want to separate us. They just want us to go to war with each other, and we're not going to do that. You know, if you want to go to war with the Asiatic, fine, you can do that, but we're not going to go to war with each other. People of color are not going to war with each other. We know that this is a celestial thing and a spiritual thing designed to make us attack each other, designed to isolate certain pockets of people of color so you can do whatever you want to do to us, and that's not going to happen. So this is the time when we need to really stick together. So Kaepernick made his statement because, you remember, Kaepernick is Asiatic. He's part Arab. So he's an Asiatic. He's African and he's Arab. So that's why he made the statement he made. But what he has to understand is not getting intertwined in the game of the societies. The Iranians are in the society. These are old civilizations, old-time civilizations. The Iranians, we've been involved with the Iranians for so long, it's pathetic. And we started their nuclear program in the 50s. So you can't say you can't have it when we were funding the program. The only reason we pulled funding is because of everything that went down in the 70s. The Iranians already have a nuclear weapon. That was Netanyahu's Freudian slip, that the Iranians already are nuclear power. They are. The fear of the Iranians is powering the region with nuclear power, making the Saudis obsolete. This is a Shiite-Sunni war. This is a Shiite Muslim, Sunni Muslim war. It has nothing to do with us. It basically is about who's going to control the power for the next 20, 30 years, or probably further than that. And nuclear power is where they want to go in that region. And the Iranians have some of the best nuclear engineers in the world. So, of course, they're going to power that region. A lot of those earthquakes that they were having, that's underground nuclear testing. Everybody knows this. But they are nuclear power. They're going to power that region, and the Saudis are pretty much done. They're finished. And the fear is that where are we going to go after the black crude or the black gold? Because most of your crude oil comes from Saudi, and without crude oil, Saudi is pretty much nothing. It's a wasteland. They have no product to give. And, you know, that quick moving away from oil and going into nuclear fusion, nuclear power, going into hydrogen power with water, going into more of electric society, solar power, a lot of solar power. We got vehicles that run off solar power. So a lot of things are going to change in the next 10 years, and the Saudis know this. So this last war is get the money war. It's just get the money, get as much money as you can, and, you know, get out of Dodge. That's it. And that's all they can do at this point. So see a lot of changes going on in the next 10 years. And I tell people, never be afraid of change. Change comes, but don't get caught up in the foolishness. There's going to be a lot of foolishness going down the pipe. And, you know, you just put your back against the wall and come out swinging. But people of color, definitely be on the watch, because, like I said, they're going to be after us. It's more of a celestial and spiritual thing with them when it comes to things that we can do. And that 144, they know it's still out there, and they had to find a way to get to the 144. What's the easy way to get to 144? War and chaos, disruption of society, isolate certain pockets of people so you can start testing them. That's all they're going to do. And they're going to send all the demons they can, the wolves in sheep's clothing, to kind of make this happen. And that's the whole game. And we just got to be prepared for it mentally. So, you know, don't be afraid of this. Don't get caught up in the war words and the prejudices and all that, and nation war, because the war is against our nation. But you got to remember, you know, the worst type of devil is the one that looks like you. So the Iranians are not our friends. The Iranians are a part of this. Everybody you're going to see a part of this war, from the North Koreans, they're a part of this. They bought into the foolishness. And their job is to sell agenda. You know, their fear of the Asiatics. And that's where we headed. This is an Asiatic fearmonger war to isolate the Asiatic so they can do what they want to do. So definitely be on the watch for some of the new things you see. But we're here. There's nothing to be afraid of. All you have to do is pray to your higher power. There's nothing to be afraid of. Don't go into this afraid. Societies have crumbled before, and the Asiatic has survived through all crumbling of society. And that's all you have to think about. The strong will survive, and the Asiatic has always been the strong. Mr. Mahdi, peace and hair grease.